Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whatever part of the world you're at today. This is Brian back again, talking to two great individuals that you probably know. One of them needs no introduction. He's a superb combatives instructor, all around nice guy, and he's been on the show not before, but we're gonna have him on the first time. But we've had him on FMA discussion before. Talk about Medusa. That's Mr. Jason Schultz, and we have Mr. Cash Haggard from Revenant Corps, and he's gonna be coming on a little later. He's tied up right now doing some stuff. So this is episode 28, and let's get it started. Let's get it going. I'm gonna bring Mr. Jason Schultz up. We're gonna be talking about the new and revised Medusa manual. So without further ado, here he is. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, Brian?
Pretty good, sir. So we're gonna go ahead and just get started. About everybody that's watching pretty much knows your repertoire and your instruction, and the Medusa manual. For those of you who are watching on YouTube later on, you just kind of happen to stumble across this video. The Medusa manual is actually a manual that was developed by Mr. Mike Raymond and his son Seth and Mr. Jason Schultz, and it's based on the some tactics in American prison systems. After watching hours and hours of videos and kind of putting stuff together to come up with this awesome system that's really easy and simple to learn, and it's just highly recommended. I'm not an instructor in it, but I do like practice it and do read the manual, and by no means an authority like all these other guys you see that are patched. And I know nor do I claim to be. I know somebody had messaged me a while back and asked me if I was an instructor, and I told them I'm not. So we'll make that clear on here right now. In the future, maybe. But we just want to go ahead and talk about the manual. So everybody knows that the original manual was released by Revenant Corps for the PDF file. So the new and improved Medusa manual, which is now you have published and put on Amazon and other great links later on. What has been revised from the old standard PDF file?
So in the original mission statement, we stated that we didn't want Medusa to continue to grow and become this complicated system. So when I revised the original manual to re-release it into a more professional package, we simply added the element of the ankle being a target for shock. All the other methodology remained the same. And I just added a small section in the back, which were Terry Trahan's rules for life. And I got his permission to include them, and I gave a quick little, editorial on my feelings regarding those rules and what I, believe them to be. So, it's just a little something. It was great getting it on the Lulu first. And their global distribution program had originally rejected the manual, and I just left it at that. I figured, you know what? I'm going to keep it as is. People can still buy it off of Lulu. But when I wrote the second book, Shock and Latch, it was also rejected for distribution. And I left that alone. And then somehow, miraculously, they both got cleared. And they're available everywhere now. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. It's popping up on eBay, Amazon, store, Walmart. It's ridiculous.
Even Walmart has it?
Yeah, Walmart, thrift books,
wow.
German websites. I've seen it in South Korea. It's crazy.
Did you ever, I know when you post a lot of stuff on your Facebook page, did you ever think that was going to blow up that much?
No. I was just hoping to put something out there that was workable, that if it helped one person, I would feel good about that. But the fact that it's taking off the way it is and getting the attention that it is and getting the positive attention that it is just mind blowing.
That's a test to your guys, the three of you guys, your great minds. And Mr. Terry Tran, we had him on here before. That guy is an awesome wealth of knowledge. Hopefully really someday, I'll be able to meet him in person and train with him. I like to. Seems like he has a wealth of knowledge with the Weaselcraft thing going on. So, are they put in different languages, or is this all standard English?
They're all in English right now. My instructor down in Brazil, Alexander, has actually translated the manual into Brazilian Portuguese. One of our instructors, Matthias, over in Germany, has translated it into German. So I am in the process of making it more readily available for people. I didn't want to just do it through a Google Translate and hope everything was correct. I wanted to get native speakers to translate the manual, so any sort of hiccup in the language wouldn't pose a problem for the reader. Because I helped Bob Sabat with his translation of the Czech manual, which was an SOE manual from World War II commandos.
I have it.
Oh, you have that? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta. I have a couple of his books, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, but when we translated that from the Czech, there were some, little nuances in the translation that, had to be cleared up. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make much sense. And I just want to avoid that with the Medusa manual if I can.
Yeah, my sound was cutting out there. Guru Joel, he said hi, and he said, "Can you transfer to Canuck?" And he put A.
And I'll put a couple of A's in there. I'll put a picture of myself wearing a toque on the back.
There you go. So with that being said, I know you mentioned one of your instructors is in Brazil, and I don't want to go too far in the rabbit hole with that, but Brazil got like some wicked ass prisons over there. Is there anything that you see that maybe, like, since you have instructors spread out these different countries, would actually be
there we go.
Included in the Medusa system, like Brazilian like prison tactics, or maybe not Germany, but Brazil, like maybe he get input and add it into Medusa, and you see some value and maybe kind of like evolve it.
100%. If one of our instructors sees something culturally that they think will benefit Medusa, we are open. Our ears are open. Medusa is a living system where we're not going to grow it just to grow it. But if we find a better way to do something that we're already doing, we have no problem replacing that methodology. Yeah,
and I think that was kind of something I've always wanted to ask you, but I just never had a chance to, because like you said, as a system, I know you don't want it to grow, but it's kind of hard to keep things contained because people are going to see the value, and everybody's going to want to hit you guys up. I want to be an instructor. I want to start my own Medusa thing here. You know what I mean? And then people are going to start adding their own. Maybe there's some, hopefully not, some bad people that slip in the system that want to start adding their own tactics in there and like that. But I mean, it is like a pertinent way to grow, like the system in there. But it's good that you guys are open-minded, like we talked before, and seeing the value of, maybe there's stuff they do in that prison system that has some kind of value that we haven't seen on the western part here, in the United States. Whether it's some kind of shock or anything like that, or something like that. So with the book, is it soft cover, hardcover, or
the manual itself is soft cover. When I printed Shock and Latch, it only gave me the option to make it hardcover. So sadly, that one's hardcover.
Do you have a copy on you right now?
Actually, I do. I have both of them.
Mind just kind of showing people. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but just kind of just briefly showing the book and how it's set up, formatted, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is the manual. It's only 30-something pages.
Nice.
Fairly good print. I mean, the print's not huge.
Yeah. And the way you did the PDF, for me, I have the PDF. I printed it out, and mine's half-ass. I know. And I printed it out. I made my own little binder and stuff like that. But I'm definitely going to pick up, one of those ones to have actually hardcover. Is it similar to like this side, like this thin kind of?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's good for you to handle when you're teaching or something. You just kind of pull it out because kind of like.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there any pictures in it, or is this kind of just all words?
Mostly words. I'm working on another book that will have pictures because I think it's more necessary with the amount of information I'm putting in it. But with Shock and Latch and the Medusa manual, I felt that the information was basic enough that with communication, because I'm fairly easy to reach. And I know Mike is, Mike puts his phone number in his Instagram account.
Mr.
So
Raymond is always available. Like if I have a question, he's like, "Ma'am," he's like response, like he chimes in. I value that man so much. I never met him in my life, but he just always he's always informative. He's always he gives his opinion on stuff, and definitely value his experience. And he's, as I do your guys' experience, and guys have more in stake in the game than I do. But can you also talk about, you talked about there's 2 books. So the book, you buy, is it a set or is it separate? You have to buy them separately.
They're separate.
Okay. So we talked about the Medusa manual. What is the shock and latch? Can you go over that one?
So shock and latch is a hyper focus on the 2 steps prior to stab. If you need a book on stabbing, I can't help you. But shock and latch, we had a lot of questions about what exactly shocking and latching were. So in the book, I just give a simple overview on shocking techniques, how to perform certain moves. Same thing with latching. I give very basic overview on stand-up grappling to help the practitioner, if they don't want to reach out to me for information or for some help, they can pick up the book and maybe it'll guide them to, a better understanding.
I know you talked before, you said that the shock and latch is more like a primer for people who don't have striking experience or it's more, it's kind of just an intro to get them, get their feet wet and on what to do as far as and stuff like that. And that one too is the same size, same size as the other book, right? It's kind of
same size. Simple. They look good next to each other on a shelf,
Look to get in your back pocket. You need to make you need to make one of those little the little ones that go in your back pocket, like the 3-ring binder one kind of one. Yeah. So on those books, is there anywhere to take notes on them? Like there's lines in the back where you want to take notes? Or?
I always include notes in the back, note pages in the back of the book. The Medusa manual has them. And then shock and latch, I included them in the back as well.
When you start, that's awesome. What got you to go from just a PDF file to be like, I need to make a proper book? One day you just came up with I need to make a proper book, or is it just kind of you want to improve on it a little bit more, evolve it more? Or?
I think it's just the natural evolution. When I first wrote the manual, I tried giving it away, and nobody was interested. Nobody wanted it. I started charging for it. People wanted to read it. So, and it just, I know people were asking for a book. So I made the initial manual, which is, just a small little fold over paperback staples that I got from Lulu as well. And those started selling, but I couldn't keep up with, the demand. So I just figured I'm going to print this as a legitimate book that people can buy it directly from the site. So I'm not responsible for mailing and all that stuff. And it just took off.
So, but when you started doing it and you started you came up with this manual, did you envision I'm going to have a series of books volumes 1 through 10, or is it just going to kind of be limited?
I just wanted it to be the first manual, and I just had enough questions about shock and latch that I had to go to that next step. I had to do the next book. I didn't want to grow Medusa more than I felt it needed to grow. Mike wanted to initially keep it just upstate. So I felt the fact that he let me share it with the world the way he did, I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want to oversaturate with our methodology because it's not for everybody. And I can understand that. And I want it to be where people can take what they learned from us and apply it to something else, or take what they learned somewhere else, try us out, and hopefully create something better.
Is it safe to say that this will probably be the last volume in the series? I
hope so. I'm a decent out.
Oh shit! I forgot about this. Is one thing I gotta add this in the book.
Yeah.
It's always the case. You think about something, you're laying in bed, or you're just kind of thinking about something I forgot to add this, and you're gonna go add it in later on. Well, I'm sure there'll be revisions. I'm sure you're gonna revise them.
Probably. I'll probably do a compiled version, of the manual with the expanded shock and latch chapters. I may do something to expand upon stab, but I don't really, it's not in front of my line right now. I got a whole bunch of other projects that I'm working on.
Would you ever consider like doing like a DVD or like a downloadable like course?
We're actually talking about that amongst the instructors. We're building a digital database of footage and video that's going to be accessible to people.
That's awesome. I mean, I didn't want to be that guy in the room. I was going to ask. I'd be like, "What is he asking that stupid question? It's not for everybody. Why would he do?" Yeah. I had to ask that question. Yeah. Like, if it can be like a downloadable, that would be really help people, especially people like me who don't have anybody around them. Like I live in Southwest. Like there's nobody around me that's an instructor from Medusa. It seems like all you guys mostly in the East Coast. There's nobody here in this area.
It'll be like if somebody wants just a specific topic, they'll be able to access that specific topic. You know, if they don't want to train the whole system, they only want to learn how one of our instructors does a certain thing, because that's the beauty about Medusa. We have so many different instructors from so many different mother systems, we'll say, that while we all employ the same methodology, all of our expressions are different. I'm different than Mike Blackgrave. Mike Blackgrave is different than Brian Canada. Brian Canada is different than David Carr. We're all phenomenal instructors, and we all have our own expressions. So I learn from my instructors just like they learn from me. You know, I'm picking their brains. You know, I'm a student of Brian Canada's right now for the Bowie knife, and what I'm learning there is directly influencing what I'm doing with Medusa.
Yeah, he's another guy. It's like I've never trained. I mean, I did take that Medusa seminar that he had. It was really informative. It was very good, but I never trained with him like on privately or anything like that. But he seems like he has a lot of good stuff in there that he teaches. Me personally, myself, like I find the Bowie knife like interesting, but it's nothing I would be carrying around here due to legal reasons. So it's kind of like everybody has their own thing, and me, I just don't like. You know, I'm not saying and I don't want people watching this thing like this guy's a dick because he thinks it's a waste of time. I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just me, you know, a person like I wouldn't train like doing Bowie dueling because it doesn't like benefit what I want to. You know, I'm more of a day-to-day EDC guy, like to protect myself. It's getting crazy. I don't see myself carrying a Bowie knife and like doing something. You know what I mean? And my knife is like maybe 4 inches, 3 inches, and that's all I carry. You know, I don't carry a big knife. But that's not to say it's great. I mean, I would like to take it for the art part, like the interesting, just to learn the history of it and stuff like that. I mean, it's great. Mr. Guru Joel says he went to buy your Shock and Latch book, but he says it was not available yet in Canada. He just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Joel, I'm going to be placing another copy of hardcovers. So if you want me to get one for you, just let me know.
Hope that answers your question there, Guru Joel. Yep. Ryan Rosado says, "What's up, folks? Sorry, I revealed your real name. I just saw it right now. So damn it, I just blew your cover." Mr. Mike Raymond says, "Any instructor can add anything they want. They have experiences that we don't have." Guru Joel says, "Please do." Mr. Jaime Aguilar, how's it going on, man? He says, "Hello, gentlemen." So that's great. You have a downloadable manual that's going to be coming out because that makes people like me happy. Like I said, that are stuck in bumfuck Egypt and don't have an option to, you know. I mean, we could do online, and I need to get off my lazy ass once I get a little bit better and start training back with you. Get on. I know.
I mean, online is good, but I still there's nothing that replaces in person hands-on instruction. I just tested out one of our instructors this morning, guy over in Finland, fantastic guy. And he's the owner of Bad Company Blades over on IG. And I wish that I was closer to these guys. You know, we have people all over the world now, and I would love to just get everyone together for a cookout.
Would there ever, that being said, I know what Dean did with the Piper thing is he did like a camp where everybody got together from all over the United States and central location. Do you see that happening maybe in Medusa? Everybody's going to kind of meet together, like people that are instructors and
we're talking about it. It's definitely a thing that's on our radar. It's definitely finding the location.
I mean, obviously I don't have as much experience as all you guys do, but I'd definitely like to attend, and if that would ever happen, and see what's all about, you know, in person. Like and you're absolutely right. And I think Mike Blackgrave said it best. Said they like, you know, he doesn't do online stuff like that. And that's good. You know, you shouldn't. You should always do in person. That's why most of the people I've trained with, I did online first, but then they've all told me we got to train in person. So that my first instructor was here locally, so I got trained with her every day. But when I trained with Dean, like he flew out here and we trained in person.
Yeah.
Professor Jack Oathman with C-Lot, I trained with him in person. We did online. He came here. We trained in person.
Yeah.
Julian Adrenaline Combatives is coming in September from England. I'm sponsoring.
That's going to be fantastic.
We're training in person here. He's staying with me for 2 weeks, and
That's
we're
awesome.
here, private training, and then we're doing a seminar. So once again, if you people that are watching, if you just think you're going to fucking do online and that's it, you're never going to touch hands with somebody in person, you're doing a disservice to yourself, and you're not really. You might think you're learning something, but you're really not, because you're not touching hands with that person.
Yeah, you're not enjoying, you're not feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
You know, if people want to feel the pressure, if they want to feel these hands, I travel well. You know.
yeah, it's like maybe people are scared and shit. They're like, I don't want to go there and fuck with that dude. He's too big. But like, it was funny because the one with Julian, I didn't think it was going to happen because he lives in England, right? And he's like, dude, you need to fly to England. And I was like, well, that's not possible right now. Like, what if you come over here? And but he wants to come to the United States. He's never taught in the United States. So he's like, well, you sponsor me and I will come there. And he's going to do like a tour of the United States, like touring. So I was like, let's make this happen. Like in September, we're going to make it happen. But like he says, we're finally going to be able to touch hands. I'm finally going to be able to show you everything I'm showing you up to this point online. We're going to be able to do it in person. And I think that's the best way to go if you're like me, isolated from other people. Do it online, get the feel of it, and then meet with that person. Like when Guru Dean came out here, like I tested in person with him because he's like, I can't test online. We have to do it in person. This is under Bert Richardson. He's like, we can't do an online test. Like I have to go and test with you. You got to feel me that 2-minute rounds of sparring for the still out for the street. You got to do it in person. You know, I'm gonna throw you down, I'm gonna hit you, elbow you. You got to feel it. And he's like, I can't do that online. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, flew him out here. We did the test. It was a couple of days of private training, hyper and everything, and it was great. It was fantastic because I got to put the online, and meet person. It's awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. So how do you encourage people to touch hands with your instructors online? So at some point, it doesn't have to be like right away, but at some point you're gonna have to.
Some point, you got it.
Got to smell his bad breath and shit. Sweat. I mean, your house and you guys be drinking and shit, and it's just like you're gonna have to do it in person. So I'm glad. I'm really pumped up for that. I'm hoping my health will stay up well enough that I'm able to do that in September, and we're able to do that. I'm really looking forward to it. He's a great instructor. I mean, but with the Medusa stuff, that camp like sounds fantastic. That sounds like something that would be like, I think you'd probably get a lot of people. Like a lot of people will like probably have too many people. People like turn people away probably. You know what I mean?
That'd be a great problem to have.
Yeah, with you guys. You know what I like about you guys in Medusa is you guys weren't in it for the money. Like, all these guys are marketing this shit and $25 membership, $30 a video. Like you guys don't even mention that. It's just like training people, good tactics, good stuff without the monetary compensation at the forefront of advertising your system. It's mainly getting the good information out to people. So with that being said, I don't know if you want to reveal anything or not, but can you reveal some of the upcoming projects you may be working on?
Yeah, I'm working on expanding my gutter fighting. So I was going through this thing recently where I was contemplating changing the verbiage I use to describe what I teach away from gutter fighting, because there are people out there with absolutely no links to World War II combatives that use Fairbairn's name, that say they teach World War II combatives, but they've never actually been instructed. They use gutter fighting in their marketing, but they don't have any legitimate experience. I don't talk about my lineage because lineage doesn't mean anything to me. I don't give a shit about lineage. My instructors aren't going to fight for me, but my lineage goes directly back to World War II legitimately. I was, one of my instructors was a man named Matthew Temkin. Matthew Temkin's father was a man named Ben Temkin, who was one of Darby's Rangers. Darby's Rangers were trained up in Scotland by Stan Bissell. Stan Bissell was an instructor for the SOE. They trained hand-to-hand combatives, so my instruction goes directly back to World War II. You know, you have guys that are throwing Fairbairn's name out there left and right that can't pronounce it right, can't spell it right. But they're calling themselves gutter fighters. You know.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that. It's funny.
And I just, you know, I want to separate myself from that. And I got a message from Kelly McCann, and he was just like, you know, nobody remembers that shit. You know, just keep doing what you're doing so long as you believe in it. So I'm keeping it. I'm bringing some respect back to gutter fighting. It's not, you know, some bullshit, you know, unskilled methodology. Yeah, it's meant to be taught quickly, but you can be a fucking buzzsaw with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm working with somebody to employ some of the methodologies and tactics used during the First World War in the trench raids. So I'm researching some really brutal stand-up grappling. I'm working on something I'm calling trench boxing, which is essentially just targeting the neck and upper arms. You know, you only target the head with an uppercut and a chin jab. But everything else is, you know, closed fist to the body, closed fist to the neck and throat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
I know we took that online. I know it was briefly. I mean, you did that online class, and you were showing me those, you know, the striking in the different areas like that, and it was so simple and effective. It's funny you mentioned. I know I was letting you finish. There's this dude I work with, and he started a neighborhood watch like thing in his. He lives up in the mountains up here, and he was talking about Far Barn. He called him Far Barn. You ever heard of Far Barn before? I'm like, Fair Barn? Far Barn. Yeah, that guy. Man, I saw some of his YouTube videos, and I was doing some of his knife stuff. I've been practicing, and I'm like, do you even know this guy has no experience in martial arts, right? This guy.
No, my God.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, you know, like, you know, I want to talk to you about doing some, you know, some FMA and some other knife stuff, you know, that I know. And I told him, well, you know, we did a thing about, you know, screening people, vetting people to train them knife. And he's like, well, you know, I'm your coworker, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I don't give a shit who you are. I was like, you know, like, yeah. And he's like, I was like, well, I'll tell you what. I was like, yeah, you know, all those guys, you know, I've been practicing. They got that dagger. I got a dagger. I bought off eBay, and I've been practicing my movements. You know, I won't hesitate to take a guy out if I have to. And I'm sitting there, and I'm biting my fucking lip.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, so first of all, Matt, let's just get one thing straight. I was like, you know, like, you gotta talk about, you know, different things about the system. You got you got to get the name right. You know what I mean? and he means well, and I know he wants to do well, and he wants to learn. But it's just that, and it's nothing against him, because there's a lot of people that do that, and they see things on YouTube, and he's like, well, you know, I can just learn off the YouTube, the patterns and everything. And I was like, well, first of all, you're not even holding the knife right. You're holding it like this. I mean, things are gonna come right out. I was like, see what I mean? I was like, if you are serious, and because every time I think about War II Combatives, I think of you right off the bat. And I was like, if you're serious about taking, because I can't teach you, I tell them I don't know it. I was like, I can teach other nice stuff, but I can't teach you combative stuff, because I'm not an expert. I've never done it. I want to learn myself. I was like, contact, you know, and I gave your name, contact him. Yeah, but he doesn't live here. I was like, yeah, but you could do online. Then maybe sometime you could set up some in-person meeting, and you can meet him. If you're that serious about, I'm serious. I'm definitely serious. So I was like, I'll get with you on Monday. I'll give you the information. You know, so maybe he'll contact. I don't know. But it's just people like that. I meet off the street. They're like, oh yeah, the gutter fighting stuff. That's what you do, right? The knife with a dagger. And man, I've seen that. I did on YouTube. Like, I watched a couple videos, and I was like in my living room, and I was kind of like, it's pretty easy stuff. And I'm like,
yeah. And, you know, I have no problem with, you know, people who are interested, people who are uninitiated, wanting to get into it. I will walk them through, you know, hand in hand. I will support them, but be honest. You know, be honest about who you are and what you're doing. Be honest about where your information comes from. You know, we got far too many people in the community nowadays that are just blowing smoke up each other's asses because they want to be the next cool guy. You know,
here's the dangerous thing about it. I was like, he was like, yeah, I could show these other people. Like, no, don't ever do that. Don't ever take some shit off YouTube and go tell your fucking buddy or your thing, hey, I know how to do it now, guys. I watched the video. Watch this video. And we're all sitting in the fucking living room practicing angle attack. I'm like, well, why can't I do that? I'm like, because you have nobody fucking showing you exactly. And then he finally got it. Like, you're right. No one's showing me where placement's at, how to hold it. And I was like, first of all, look at where you're holding that screwdriver right now. That's not even the way you hold a knife. Like, dude, you're not fucking not doing butter on your fucking toast here. You're like, you're holding a blunt, you know?
God.
And the intentions are there. People mean well.
Yeah.
But there's too many fucking people out there. And I met about 10 people over the last 6 months. Oh, well, I appreciate your offer for the instruction, but all I got to do is watch a video. Like, it's not that hard, man.
Yeah,
like, if you can make a video, it's easy to do. And I'm like, you know, I'm sorry. There's one guy's a BJJ guy, and he wanted to learn knife. And he's like, I'm sorry, man. Like, in-person training, like, you guys are becoming dinosaurs, man. Like, I could learn all this shit all on DVD now. Like, I really don't need you anymore. Like, you know, like, you're kind of becoming obsolete.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really, dude?
Yep.
In-person instruction's fucking obsolete? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how did you
so twisted. You know, COVID made everyone so much more lazy. You know, nobody wants to get together and train anymore.
Guilty as charged. I had to do online. I had no. Well, here's the thing. Like, I did online, but then my instructor, because she was 81 years old at the time, she didn't meet people in person, right?
Yeah.
And it started hurting her wallet, and she was like, "Well, we could do classes. We all have to wear masks." And I was like, "Fuck!" It was like hard as fuck doing stick sparring and shit with a mask on. I was like, "You know, that's the weather. It's hot here in the summertime. It was like in May and shit." And I was like, "Dude, I'm dying out here." But I did get caught into the, you know, the online thing, as have a lot of people, and I felt like a piece of shit afterwards. Like, you know, people are like going to question my validity. They're going to be like, "Dude, you're just fucking doing it online. You got no like touching hands of anything. You're a fucking poser." And that's all like, you know, my wife was like, "You got to meet these people in person and train with them, like other people." Now my instructor here, like, she tested me, and I did hands with her. I was just worried about the other systems I was starting to learn, and people are like, "Well, you're not really learning that system because you're doing it on a computer." And I was like, I got to add some validity to my repertoire here. Like, I'm just a fucking Zoom guy, you know what I mean? I got to start meeting these people in person and touching hands.
Now, see, the Zoom training and the video training and stuff like that is great for people who have a knowledge base already.
Yeah.
Because if you have an understanding of body mechanics, how to make a fist, how to move, it opens up a whole nother world for you. So right before COVID, I think a year before COVID, maybe, whenever Mark Hatmaker started up his Black Box program.
That's another guy I want to get on, by the way.
I signed up with that immediately. Like, Mark Hatmaker fell off my radar initially when I stopped training MMA, because he was, you know, all MMA at one point. And when I went to the real world self-defense, I stopped paying attention to him because, you know, when you first get into the self-defense, you get into the mindset of, oh, combat sports don't work in the street, which is absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, he came back up onto my radar when he started focusing on the rough and tumble fighting. And his DVDs, you know, it's a monthly service, but he puts out, you know, 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes every month of material. And it's stuff that nobody else is doing. You know, and he's not a guy who does a lot of seminars. He has the students that are local to him, but, you know, if you know what you're doing and somebody like Mark Hatmaker, extends this type of service, or, you know, like Terry Trahan with the Weaselcraft Patreon. These are guys who aren't out in the public as much as they should be. You know, these are guys who don't have the notoriety that they should, and their information is top notch.
But that's good in a way, because not everybody's getting that information, because it's not all out. Yeah.
You know, Terry, with this, we've been waiting forever for Terry to put this Patreon together, and it's been fantastic so far. He's covering so many bases, and he's doing it in a way that the uninitiated, the people who don't have much training, can actually gather something from it, because he's not just data dumping on you. It's not just an information dump. He's actually going through step by step, building the student up. You know, and the Mark Hatmaker,
I very recently found out about him. I think one of your guys' page, I started like being nosy, going on his page and look at his videos, stuff like that. That's another gentleman I like to have on. I don't know if he'd be open to an interview or not, but I'd like to get him on the show. One of those guys I was talking about before we do the little thing here, before I do up my thing, I like to have on and pick his brain, because we had, you know, Terry on, we had you on, Raymond on. I consider like the triangle of, you know, one of the guys. You guys are some of the best in the world in your specialties, what you guys teach.
Mhm.
I'm happy to have you guys on the show and showcase you guys on here. And I think a lot of shows want to do the big names, like, oh yeah, this fucking guy, Santo. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, like we do this shit, like we put people of value who have things
Right.
to offer. We don't care if they're out there fucking making millions of dollars and social
Yeah.
media influencers. We just care about giving people information so they can go
Mhm.
use those resources and say, like, I've had a couple of people I've turned on to Mike Raymond, stuff like that, and they've looked at them in the videos and like, man, thank you for like showing me the guy on the show. Like, like,
Yeah.
we appreciate you, leading those. Whether or not they contacted him or not for training, I don't know, but they like
Right.
this material and they found value in it. And that's good. That the Patreon thing is another thing. I haven't done it. I need to get on this Patreon and do that. I'm very interested in learning SAP and blackjack. I have my own things I've been taught, to Julian and stuff like that. But I like to get other people, not just one person's perspective on SAP and blackjack.
Yeah. So, like, from my perspective, Terry is the SAP guy. Terry is the guy. I've learned a majority of what I know from Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And people trying to sell systems for the SAP, there is no system for the SAP. There's a way to deploy it. There's a way to use it, but there's no system. There's no ground up. This is how it's done. It's everybody pretty much does it their own way, but it's instinctive. It's natural. If it's sprung, you can thrust with it. You don't want to make giant movements because it's supposed to be an ambush tool. You don't want them to see you coming with it. It's something you're here and then boom, done.
Yeah. Kind of like the karambit. Like when I learned that, when I started learning karambit, I learned the FMA way, which is, kind of bastardized way of using the karambit. Then I talked to Professor Jack. You know Professor Jack, right? Jack Wolfman? Yeah. When he came to Albuquerque, we did there's like a 3-day seminar we did, and he showed it like in person, because I did online with him, and just like how you keep it, it's for punching, and tearing, not flipping it around and fucking
right.
You know what I mean? Like it really put things in perspective. Like you said, there's no secret in it. This is what you use. You know, use it. The same thing with the blackjack and sap. Like people are like, well, show me how to use a blackjack and sap. I'm like, come here. Bow.
That's it.
Here. But there are different techniques I don't know that I like to learn, and striking from whatever, and that's awesome that he teaches it. And then you said the big names are the people that people gravitate to because they're always in the spotlight. But the smaller guys people knows about are like the quieter ones are the most deadliest ones, in my personal opinion. The guys who don't say a whole lot, those are the guys you want to fuck with, like like Terry, and you and I don't know the guy Mark Hatmaker too much. I've seen a lot of his stuff. Like he looks like a quiet guy.
He's just a chill guy,
Mark
he does his research and he hangs out with his wife.
Yeah.
Just a really down to earth guy.
Videos out there all the time.
A little bit, a little bit.
Yeah. So would you guys ever consider doing like the unholy trinity of like combatives seminar, which would be like you and Terry, Mike Blackgrave, Mark,
so
other people?
Funny you should ask that. We're actually discussing doing a seminar with a couple of instructors. I'm not going to say who yet, but people should be pretty excited when they see the names.
And would that be something on the East Coast or kind of like centralized?
We're going to actually, since we're all in different locations, we're going to do an online presentation first.
Okay.
And then depending on the turnout, it may turn into something in person.
I'm in. Definitely message me when that happens. I'm definitely in with it. As much as I can. I haven't did a whole lot of training in the last month or so, do some health stuff, but I mean, hopefully this will pass. Hopefully, I'm doing light training. I can start getting into it, but I'm definitely, even if something's so wrong with me, I'm still gonna fucking attend it. Like I'll push myself to do it. You know what I mean? But that sounds like something that I kind of was reading your bio language when I was talking about some of these questions. I'm like, he has something in his mind. He wants to talk about something. I'm gonna pull it out of him. I kind of had a feeling that's something you were working on.
So right now the seminar is going to cover everything from gutter fighting to my expression of edged weapons, not Medusa, but the way I would deploy a weapon and the way I would teach knife work if I was working with a long-term student. So it'll be quite different than the Medusa methodology. There may or may not be some Salat. There may or may not be some sap work. There may or may not be some machete work. These are all going to be, deployable skills. Not things that you're going to use if you're Jack Reacher or James Bond. These are going to be things that the everyday guy can use.
I've been ordering a lot of stuff recently from a lot of the pages you've been suggesting, like the East Coast schools. I think Mike Blackgrave had some stuff on there too. Yeah. So like I've been buying a lot of like different like saps with quarters in them.
Okay.
Like blunt edge weapons mostly. Like I mean? Not knives. I have plenty of knives, but I don't really want any knives. But unfortunately, I just got a message from Cash, and he is having an emergency right now, so he's probably not going to be able to make it. Right now, he might not. We have to reschedule, maybe just him later on.
That's fine.
But I want to talk about some of the weapons that he has, and I know you have a lot of them. So since you're not here on his behalf, maybe you can talk about some of the tools that you've gotten from his site, like the quality, the ingenuity on them, like practicality.
Yeah, so the first thing I got from Cash at Revenant Corps was the IMP, which is impale, maim, and puncture. It's a spike-driven weapon with a, it's geometrically driven. It's a penetration weapon. It's not for slashing. So it's got a nice triangular tip. And it felt so good. It deployed so good. The sheath was fantastic. He did a one-off of the Shanghai model with a single edge instead of it being a dagger. And again, it far exceeded my expectations. The tool is well made. It's, it handles abuse, and being that it's G10, it's not going to rust. It's not going to, it's not going to deteriorate if you get, body oil on it, sweat.
Yeah, they're all made now. All the stuff he has. Right?
And he, Cash is the only manufacturer I know that refuses to sell NPE tools to states where it's illegal, because he actually puts a little bit of care into his customers. He doesn't want to see somebody get hemmed up because of a stupid rule. So all the G10 I get has got a piece of metal in it. He puts a little brass rod or something in it so it'll get caught. And I'm not going to be carrying this on an airplane. I'm not going to be carrying it into a court. I'm taking it on my walks with my dog. I'm taking it to the beach. I'm taking it to the store. I'm taking it to places it can go. I'm not the type to violate a rule or a law. I feel like it.
He makes these all himself, or he has a company to him, or he actually makes.
He makes them all himself.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all handmade.
I'm a fabricator too, so I want to talk to him about like the fabrication thing on it. Yeah. I saw one that was like a Sharpie that I really wanted to get.
Was that?
The one was like a Sharpie. He said it was like a all. Yeah.
Yeah, his all. Yeah.
I definitely.
I'll tell you a little story about Cash. My son is 12. He's going to be 13 in May. He's had a rough couple of years, and because of the things he's gone through, he's a little apprehensive. He's got some social anxiety. And when I spoke to Cash about this, my son's starting to explore the outside a little bit more. He's going a little bit further from home. And I decided I wanted something from the carry that, he could be safe if somebody, tried something. And, being 12, 13, I can't give him a knife. That's out of the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Cash outfitted him with a wedge of compliance, which is just a G10. It's about an inch thick, 6 inches long with a chisel tip. And it doesn't even come to a point. It just comes to, it's about a 1/4 inch thick at the tip, and it's perfect. I would feel safe walking around with it. The fact that my 12-year-old feels safe walking around with it is awesome. And the fact that Cash will put that kind of thought into something, it means a lot.
Yeah. Definitely. First, that little personal touch, like the little
Yeah.
kind of like designing it for you. What would you recommend? Like, first, let's just start from okay. I'll go down the spectrum here.
Yeah.
You're a kid, teenager, obviously not a little 7 or 8-year-old teenager. What would you recommend out of his inventory?
Weather compliance, definitely.
Okay.
Hands down. If he produces like an impact tool, like if he starts to work with rods and he makes like a Dan Bong or a Copo stick, I'd be 100% behind one of those as well.
Okay. Next question is, what does he have in his inventory for a woman that would you recommend?
Anything. The Grackle is great. The Grackle is perfect.
That's one I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice size. It's not too big for a typical sized woman. It's not gonna. They could throw it in a bag. They could throw it in their waistband. And it won't be in the way.
And last but not least, just for the everyday Joe guy, was out with his family at the movies. Guy was out with his family. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot to choose from, but what immediately hangs out in your mind, like?
Again, I would go with the Grackle just because of the feedback it's getting. Even recently, I know a bunch of people that have carried it, but somebody recently had it tested at one of Ed's organic medium seminars. And it punctured the skull, punctured the ribs, it ripped through the organic tissue. It performed just like a steel blade.
But it's the G10. Yeah.
But it's G10,
Man, what is that called again? I'm writing that down. I'm going to order one.
The Grackle, Grackle.
Like a bird.
Yeah, exactly.
Grackle. Do you know what that retails for, MSRP, or?
Probably about, I'd say between 100 and 115, 120.
Okay.
And it'll either come with a static line on a sheath or a clip.
Okay. I've seen that one before. They had like a neon colored one or something, right?
Yeah, he does so many crazy colors and combinations.
That's what's cool.
It adds a little bit of fun to it,
Yeah, it's unsuspecting. It's not the black, like jet black. It's like different fun colors, and people are like, "What's that?" Then they're like, "Oh shit!" You know what I mean?
Yeah, like my son's wedge of compliance is like a neon green.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome. It matches his personality.
I have a question for Mr. Michael Carriaga. He says, "Good morning, Guru Brian and Jason." Hey, when you mentioned Shanghai, is it Shanghai in regards to Colonel Rex Applegate, or was Fairbairn, who worked with the Shanghai police pre-World War II or during World War II? And were those of which the two, Applegate or Fairbairn, developed gutter fighting? I read somewhere, I just want to know clarification on who the gutter fighting and which one I'm interested in learning.
Okay, so we can tackle that all right now. So it's called the Shanghai because it was a double-edged dagger, like the Shanghai daggers developed by Fairbairn while he was a member of the SMP. Gutter fighting is what Fairbairn referred to his unarmed combat system as while he was in the United States. It was just a slang term. Gutter fighting was actually used by Americans from the late 1800s to World War II as a term to describe somebody who's going to go all out and basically put their life on the line to win the fight. Mm-hmm. Boxers in the 1920s referred to themselves as gutter fighters. So this is 22 years prior to Fairbairn even being in the U.S. We had gutter fighters here, and that's the lineage that I'm trying to carry on. Is the American talent for violence, you could say. People make the joke that we're warmongers. Who better to commit violence than an American?
Yeah, it'd be un-American too. Why do you think there's? Because I've been seeing a lot of it last few months. What is the resurgence in learning of these tactics now? Like what made? I know they've always been there, but like more and more recently in my Facebook feed, I've been seeing a lot of the World War II combative stuff. What made the resurgence happen? Like, what was there a particular event, or people are just kind of just like,
there's like an ebb and flow. Every couple of years, it'll come back. You know, people get interested in it again, and then they'll just go away to the next thing. Then there are those of us who stick it out. You know, who have been doing this for years.
So, I mean, people obviously have seen the value in it. They keep coming back to it. Like you said, they stop. And in a couple of years, they come back and bring it all up again. So obviously, there's something that's bringing them back.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
Well, it's like Matt Larson wanted to investigate the World War II methodologies when he was developing the Modern Army Combatives program. But he couldn't find anybody to train with. He wanted to work with Sestari to find out, you know, what information he could and to build something from there. But because of the people Sestari had around him, Larson just walked away from it. He didn't want to deal with the bullshit. You know.
Have you been approached by Army to teach?
Not as an organization, but the student I last promoted to instructor prior to this morning is an active duty special operations soldier who wants to bring Medusa to his unit. Nice,
and rightfully so. We should. Do you think? I know a lot of people, like, I've seen videos where people do like their, you know, the rants and stuff like that. Does gutter fighting? I know you could pick things out of systems and make them for civilian use.
Yeah.
You see, it's something that civilians should be learning for self-defense, or should just stick strictly military?
No, civilians, 100%. You know, there's nothing that we train that isn't trained within other systems or wasn't trained within other systems at certain points. You know, a lot of the like the man-enders don't get trained a lot nowadays, where instead of being an air choke where you cause panic, you know, they shift the choke to the carotid arteries, where it becomes a blood choke and you put him to sleep rather than him panic and you break his neck. You know, there's some changes that can be made. You know, you can restrain somebody rather than breaking something. You can,
it's been modified for people on the street, then, in other words, like you said, like those simple things.
Yeah. There's certain things. I still teach the full methodology, but I will teach both ways to do things.
I know when we took that class, you did a very good, thorough. People that are watching, I took a few online classes with Mr. Jason here, and the way he explained it, and the reason after we did it, he said, "This is why we do this. This is what happens when you do it." Was excellent. Was great. And I saw the difference between the combat aspect and, like you said, the guy off the street aspect of, like, you know, why you, like that choke you're talking about. You know, obviously in wartime you want to end your enemy. You know, obviously the person on the street doesn't want to go to prison, but gets to defend their life. That alternate, you know, kind of like, you know, we learned in Piper, like, you know, when I was in Dean, he's talking about, you know, when we go here, I go with the throat, but you could actually just hit the leg, you know, and wound him and get out. You know what I mean? You don't have to sit there and the guy 15, 16 fucking times and bleed him out like a faucet. You've got options to do, and I see that's awesome, because most systems have that blood, the smell of blood, right? It's like, as soon as possible, take his fucking head off. You know, and I don't want to call people out, but when I did learn under Professor Jack, like, he was teaching the battlefield tactics, right, with the karambit. I mean, this guy was like, "We're gonna fucking cut his tongue out, you know, cut his ball off and his eyeball," and I'm like, "Well, that's great, you know, and the battlefield, but, like, do you have a way of teaching it in the street?" And he just kind of was like, "I'm teaching you authentic battlefield tactics. There is no street use for this weapon. You're not gonna, you know, the karambit. There's no, like, well, I'm gonna fucking do a flesh wound on his bicep and then take off. It's for maximum destruction." And I'm not saying it's bad, but I was kind of like, damn, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's bloodthirsty. But see, in his country, maybe that's allowed. But he didn't see, like, being here, like, "Oh, you can't do that here?" Like, like, "No, dude, I can't fucking cut the guy's tongue out." Like, sorry, dude, it's not gonna happen.
And I think as instructors, that's something we owe the student, is we owe them. We should be So, all right, I got to be careful when I say this, because it's not really up to the instructor. But the way I look at it is, people need to train for the life that they have first.
Mhm.
After they accomplish that, then they can train for the fun shit. Then they can train for the special operations shit. Learn how to protect yourself and your family first, and then go on. And when I say instructors have a responsibility, instructors, in my point of view, and this may not be popular, but instructors should be providing as much real world instruction as they are the fantasy shit. The stuff that's never going to be employed.
Yeah, because it seems the fantasy shit is what everybody comes to you for.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I heard somebody said you're into that. What did that guy say the other day? Yesterday at work. I heard some guy said into the knife shit, man, like they do like in John Wick or some shit like that. He goes, so when can I learn it? Like, can you show me the shit like they do? And I was like, that's fantasy, dude. Like, like,
yeah.
And first of all, I'm not going to show you because I don't know you. Like, who the fuck are you? But second of all, like, that's fantasy. Well, no, I mean, you can probably do that shit in real life, though, right? I'm sure you can go to prison. But people are so enamored by the fantasy, and then when they see the practical, it's like, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. They want to see all that, here. Like,
yeah, no, ain't happening. It looks real violence looks like a car wreck. It doesn't look like choreographed a dance. It's a car wreck. Two bodies smash each other and blood and fucking sweat.
When that thing happened to me at the mall last year, and I think I posted it, when that guy came from behind me, and I'm not going to go in details because it's still kind of a legal thing, but like that wasn't like I thought it was going to be. Like, he grabbed me, I just grabbed him, swept him, and threw him on the ground. It wasn't like, I didn't do any of that shit. I just grabbed him and I kind of slipped off his hand, and I just swept his leg out and pushed him. He fell on the ground, I guess like this. But it wasn't like, I didn't like put him in a chokehold. I didn't like hit him a hammer fist. It was just gross motor grab and whatever. And then a lot of people messaged me afterwards, like, well, so did your FMA stuff work on him when you did it? Or did your combative stuff work on him? Like, no, not really. I just kind of grabbed him and swept his leg out. And he fell. I mean, there was no secret sauce. There was no.
Right.
I mean, and the guy did have like a little pocket knife in his pocket. And I don't know what his intentions were, okay? Like, I mean, I went to get my insurance out of the car. He came from behind me. I just could see him in the corner of my eye. My son said, Dad, the guy's coming up, reaching towards you. It happened like that. Right?
Yeah.
It was like, but there was no, like, like fucking, blocking, and it was none of that. No. And the people are disappointed. Like when I told them, like, that's it. That sucks. I'm like, that sucks, dude. Like the guy fucking had a little knife. I mean, the little knife he had was like that big. Doesn't matter. He could have fucking punctured my neck or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He stabbed me. I don't get stabbed. You know what I mean? He could have stabbed me. But people were disappointed. Like people, and even my students, when I told them, they're like, man, I thought it was gonna be like different, like so in other words, you didn't get to use any of the stuff you teach us in here. I was like, no, I didn't. Like, it wasn't a stand-up fight. It was just I came from behind. Like, I wasn't sitting there like, come on, fucking
right. Yeah.
People are so enamored by the fantasy
that
common sense and logic is thrown out. It's like they're disappointed. It's like, man, that sucks. And they think you're less of a person. Like, so I guess the stuff you really teach doesn't even work then. I'm like, well, dude, I didn't get a chance to use any of the stuff. Right. Because it didn't happen. You're not missing the point.
Yeah.
This wasn't a bar fight. This wasn't a fucking, hey, fuck you in the parking lot. This was a guy reaching to get my thing, and he comes from behind, like that's what it was. It wasn't, I didn't even get to turn, and it wasn't like we were facing each other. Yeah. But it's like people sell the fantasy, and I'm glad when I do show people Medusa. I show them the manual, like, hey, you want to read through it, they read through it, whatever. And they asked me, what can you, this and that? And I was like, well, I'm not a qualified instructor. I told them, if you guys want to, because I can't, I know it enough, because just an experience for, but I'm not qualified to teach it. So it's like, if you want somebody to show you the exact thing, you need to reach out to somebody, and they're like, well, you said that anybody can do it though. I was like, no, I said, if you read it, you can get the basics down. I didn't say you can do it. You have to see a qualified instructor of anything to get that qualified experience, and you have to see them in person. Like, if I was going to do the instruction stuff, obviously I would test with you guys in person. I would fly out there. I'm not going to just do online testing and stuff like that. But I mean, people just get enamored by the fantasy, and I think a lot of people put out videos and they talk about that, the realistic stuff. And I think Mike Black Grape puts a lot of videos where he talks about people are living in fantasy. And people are like, well, that guy, it's, people say he's bitter and stuff like that, but he's telling the truth. If you just put your ego down and you know it all, and you listen to what he's saying. He's telling the truth, like, you know.
Yep.
And people just kind of like, well, I don't want to listen to that because they're so in their own little world, their bubble.
Yeah. No,
I know
100%.
you put out stuff before too, and people are, you know, like with the gutter fighting and stuff like that. And they're like, well, that's cool for military use. You know, it doesn't really have use on the streets. And like, well, I mean, like, that's why I asked the question. You know, like, you know, you teach it.
I'll give you a perfect example. When people say that gutter fighting isn't useful for civilians or for the streets, here's a little secret that people don't know out there. But when you go to train with Kelly McCann, at the end of the seminar weekend or the workshop or whatever, you fight. You fucking fight each other. And guess what? It works. And you're not going to kill somebody if you hit him with an edge of hand blow or you hit him with a chin jab. Obviously, I'm not going to hit my sparring partner with a chin jab, but you can use this shit to spar. You can use this shit to fight people. You know, it's not dark arts. It's not some mystical thing where you're going to kill somebody with a single shot. It's not Dim Mak. You know, I'm not fucking George Dillman. You know, it's
like a Dim Mak.
You know, it's the stuff is workable and you can employ it. You know, it's not about the strength. It's not about the speed. It's about the tenacity and the willingness to do what you need to do to survive. And if that's crossing the street, if that's kicking somebody in the balls, if that's, you know, hitting them with a coup de pied bas in the shin, a savate kick in the shin, and then making a break for it, that's gutter fighting, you know?
Yeah. It's I know I don't see a whole lot of people testing like with the helmets and the bodysuits, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just bought a bodysuit. And I don't want to tell you how much it costs. Like,
yeah.
It was used. It wasn't new. It was used.
Oh, really?
God damn, it's this. I mean, I had to wash it and everything, but
yeah.
It was a requirement that Jillian said, like, when I come and test, you gotta have a bodysuit, helmet.
Yeah.
We already have the helmets ready, and I have the groin guard, and I have the.
Yeah.
It's like, we're gonna go balls to the wall for the final day, and I'm gonna fucking attack you because we're doing car combatives in the car. Dude, like when he hit the steering wheel, head on the car, and everything. Yep. He's like, obviously I'm the guy who's gonna get beaten, right? Because like, you know, I sponsor and everything. So he's like, make sure you get a suit that fits you, make sure it's comfortable, and the helmet. He's like, because the last day you might not want to go to work the following day. He's like, because you're not going to feel too. So I was like, a bodysuit, because I never had that. I mean, I've had the helmet and other stuff, but like the bodysuit was an interesting thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna get punched in the body and kicked in the body, and he's like, you have to do it. He's like, I won't teach you any other way. Like, I won't. Like, I'm doing a disservice to you if I don't do this. Like, you're gonna have false hopes that you can actually take this in a real situation. Yeah. And I didn't think this guy's an asshole. He wants to beat me. I was just like, no, this guy's actually doing me a service. Like, I'm glad he said that. You know, I mean, I'm glad to spend the money, but I was glad that he said that we're gonna do this at the end, and everybody's gonna do it, not just me. Every person that takes that fucking class is gonna get their ass beat.
When I train with people, when I teach them, I don't have a whole bodysuit, but I made sure I got a helmet from Redbeard Combatives. It's the same, you know, it's the company that Craig Douglas uses also. He's approved their helmets for his ShivWorks ECQC workshops and everything. I bring that helmet with me, and at the end of the session, I want my students, I want the people that I'm working with to kick the shit out of me. I don't care if you're a 50-year-old man. I don't care if you're a 16-year-old girl. I'm putting that helmet on and I'm coming at you, and you need to stop me. If you don't stop me, or if you stop me, I failed. I failed that day. I didn't teach you. I didn't give you the information that you needed, didn't give the self-esteem that you needed to do what you need to do. And I take that really seriously, because there's so many people out there that are just patting you on the back, you know, pushing you off to the next lesson because they want that $25, $30. They want that $250. They want whatever that is. I have a 9-to-5 job. I don't need combatives to fill my bank account. I teach because I want to teach. I have a job that puts a roof over my head, that feeds my family. I don't need combatives to do that. I do the combatives because I want to share my information. I want to teach people. I want people to have better lives. I want to be able to go out in public and not have to worry about the bullshit.
Exactly. I think that's you're doing a good service to your students. When I took the SEAL off the street test, at that 2 minutes like seemed like 20 minutes. It was crazy. Like I would get thrown down and have to come back up again, and like elbow in the face. I didn't have a bodysuit at the time, so I took the blows to the chest and everything. I mean, like I was fucking dying afterwards. I was like, dude, like if I could fucking last this long, like I need to really start like, getting better and better, more cardio, you know what I mean? And I did. And I'm glad I took that test with like that under pressure that, that helped me see that, hey, this is what you have to do to survive. Unfortunately, Cash is not going to be able to make it with us today. We have to reschedule another time. He said he's not going to be able to come on. So I apologize, everyone, for not having him come on. He has some stuff going on. Yeah, I mean, like he said when he told me that, it was just like, he's like, you have a problem with it? Because you have a problem with it, I won't come, I won't come and do a seminar. And I'm like, no, not a problem at all. Like, I'm really and I told the people that if you're coming to the seminar, you're going to get your ass beaten, so just get prepared. Well, what do you mean I need a mouth guard? What do you mean I need a helmet? I'm like, you need it. Like, you're going to get beaten. Like, it's going to be part of the test. Like, you have to, you have to do it. So, I mean, we'll see how many people show up. I mean, there's a lot of people around, a lot of people that are coming here, practitioners with prior experience. So they're like, they're used to getting contact, I mean? So that's good though. Like, weed the bad people out, the people you don't want out, you know what I mean? But I'm really excited about that seminar you guys are talking about there. So hopefully you guys reveal that soon, and we're definitely going to come to that one and take it or whatever. But before we go, I know you have to go soon. We're talking about the Blood Hill Combat Club. Oh, he froze. Are you there?
We're breaking up. What was it?
Talk about the
I'm here.
combat club that you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I what?
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up. So, yeah, now I can.
Okay. We just want to talk about the Blood Hill Combat Club.
Sure. It's an organization. It's a think tank. Oh,
you're cutting out. You might want to come back in real quick. You might want to come back in. We lost him with the reception. Sorry, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying. I know it's gonna be a short show today, but unfortunately, like I said, we had a little we had to reschedule Catch to come on. He's having some issues. So I mean, this will be another maybe 20 minutes or so before Mr. Schultz has to leave us. But anybody have any questions you want to ask? Put down in the comments. We have some great who's who of the combative world here joining us today. So I'm glad that you guys are watching and spending just a little bit of time out of your day to watch me ask some cool questions with Mr. Jason here. And let me see if I can bring him back. Can you come back in? I think we lost him, guys. Yeah, I think we lost him. Anyway, I appreciate everybody's questions that you guys have had on here. It's been great having you guys on here. Okay, he's back on again. Okay, there you are.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about the Blood Hill Combat Club.
Yep. So it's an organization I set up a couple of years back. Just like-minded individuals. It's a think tank where I teach out of, but I also want to hear other people's ideas. So if somebody goes to a seminar and they bring back something they think is useful, let's murderboard it. Let's try it out. Let's test it under pressure and see if it actually works. If it works, great, we'll keep it. If not, we'll move on to the next thing.
Great.
It's primarily gutter fighting and American kabuto.
Oh, nice.
And American kabuto is just a very tongue-in-cheek term I used for knife, sap, blackjack, baton, and brass knuckles. Those are the only weapons I teach.
The other thing I don't see a whole lot of people doing is brass knuckle training, like different movements with it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I learned some stuff from Professor Jack with the Bukalima. I can see a lot. I'm sure some of the techniques are the same as like what American people would teach, but I don't have those same kind of knuckle dusters like he has. They have like a spike or something.
Right.
But like I'd like to learn. I like to see more content out there on it. Like people like you or some people post like some videos or something like that. Just simple things. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't reveal everything, but I mean just simple things of how to use them. because everybody thinks that, oh, I'm just gonna puncture them. Like nobody ever like I showed to me at work a while back, and they're like, oh, you could use it this way and this. I was like, yeah, I mean, we could hit the ribs with it. I thought just punch you, knocking people out. I'm like, no, well, yeah, it is. I mean, you could use it for other targets. Like it's not just knocking somebody out.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You have like a think tank of people bringing stuff in there. Like I wish more people would do that. Like they'd have more of those around the United States. Like people would kind of, you know, bring stuff like that and bring ideas because there's so many closed-minded people. You know, you got one guy is the big fucking cock, right? Like you bring information in and we're not doing that shit. Like no, we're gonna do this. Yeah. You know, and then nobody wants to listen. You know, there's so many people like, well, I don't want to do that. That's not gonna work. But when you got people effectively, you know, like get together and try things out, it gets better as a whole. And I think wish more people would do that. Like,
that's the way I think people learn better. You know, is through community, through that type of cohesive working together.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go somewhere with some fucking guys like, no, we're doing it this, man. Sorry, man, your idea sucks. Like, we're doing it this way. I'm gonna walk right out. Like, I'm walking out. If I have no input on it, I'm walking out.
No.
So it's,
and I'm just like I'll try anybody's stuff if they want to, show me.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't think my stuff works, or if they think I'm a fraud or full of shit, I'm not hard to find. They can come see if my shit's bullshit or not, Yeah. And I welcome it. I'm not looking for trouble, but if somebody wants to come at me or say something to a third party, I'm all for them coming to see me. Let's be men. Let's handle our business.
Yeah. You're gonna run your fucking mouth. Yeah, come and see it in person. And it's funny you say that because like you follow that Las Vegas Combat Academy, the black dude.
No.
He has a lot of people that hate on him, like on his video. Actually, I want to try to get him on the show. People are like, "Oh, dude, you're doing disservice to your students. That's never gonna work on the street. Like, how stupid that girl can't take that guy down like that." And he's just always like, "Dude, come to my gym, like, and try me." And nobody ever does. This people just always like running their mouth, like But you got to be careful with that. Obviously, I mean, with nowadays, like somebody could bring a fucking cap and fucking blast you in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, he's always inviting people, and people never like will go on there. And he's like, he posted a video today. I'm still waiting, guys. They listed the names of the guys. It's like waiting for you to show up. It's been 2 weeks now. We're BJJ black belt guy. Like come to the to the gym and let's do this shit. Yeah. And they never showed up. Yeah. So for me personally, I don't have time for that shit anymore. Like I know there's some people. One person called me a fraud a while back. Like, oh, you're just starting a fucking show and you don't have any really fucking background in anything. You're talking out of your ass. And so I was like, okay, dude. Who cares? Dude? Yeah. Like I'll blow that shit off. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking.
People can't be, human. They always got to look for bullshit. They always got to look for drama. They always got to look for some sort of negativity to hang on.
Dropped off social media. I don't know if you know that I don't really post that much. I mostly post shit about my kid and like cooking and stuff like that. I rarely post martial arts stuff. People tag me and stuff, but I mean, I'm not there posting videos. I'm posting anything. It's just that simple fucking reason. I don't need a fucking keyboard guy and they're like, well, he's not doing this right and he's not doing that. I don't want to hear it. Like going through stuff right now. I don't need it in my life right now. I don't need more elevated stress. So it's Mike Blackgrave is here right now. He said slapping with black knuckles is a lovely expression. I'd rather sit and enjoy a scone and tea with you. I'm a pacifist.
No, yeah. Break out the orange marmalade, Mike.
If Mike Raymond says if you're not willing to go hard, why bother? He's exactly right. I'm glad you guys. My Ludus store has always been open 20 years. I've sent invites and waivers. Guess how many it showed. If you want to go, blasters, okay. And I don't want to like promise anything, but like when this shit all passes with me, I want to go start. There's a couple people I want to travel with, maybe only 3. And I think because Julian was coming here, so I want to meet you obviously in person. And Mike Blackgrave somewhere down the line, I will want to go train with him. And then Terry and Mike Raymond, and that's it. Like I'm done. After that, I think I've gotten like who I want to train with. And I probably won't do it anymore. I'm just gonna be honest, come on the show and say like I probably won't train like any more than anybody else because it gets to the point after a lot of people are starting to teach you kind of the same stuff already. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's kind of like I know people say train as many people you can and whatever like that, but I just want to pick the people that are gonna be worth my time
Mm-hmm.
and give me their time, and people are going to give me awesome all around instruction that's real world.
Right.
I'm more of a guy like to train people who've been in real violence,
Mm-hmm.
and not some fucking guys who's a theory guy. Like, well, if you do this, he's probably going to go down. And you hit him. Come on, he's not going to get back up. Like, well, how do you know
Right.
that? Well, I hit the dummy with it. I know. I'm like, no, I want somebody that's fucking actually knocked the fuck out of somebody, and this worked. Bam, fucking took him out. That's why, like I said, I picked Julian too. He's been working the doors in London for like 10, 15 years, and he's showing me these fucking videos and these stories. He's like, dude, he's like, we did this one thing, and he's like, this isn't gonna fucking work. Watch this video. He showed me a surveillance video. He goes, see how big this guy's got 6'7". He's like, look how I took him down. He showed me the video of him hitting the guy. So kind of like, we're gonna work on that today. You know what I mean? Grab a partner, we're gonna do that today. And that's what I want. I want something like that when I look for somebody as an instructor. I don't want somebody that thinks it's gonna work.
So I gotta say this about Julian, real quick. Julian's been on my radar for about a decade now. And anyone who thinks that adrenaline combatives has just popped up overnight, or that Julian is somebody who's coming out of nowhere and doesn't know shit, this guy has put the work in, and he deserves everything he's getting right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I have no relationship with Julian. I don't know him from a hole in the wall. We've spoken maybe like 3 times, but he is phenomenal.
He is. It's just the classroom stuff. Like, he does. He's like, we're not gonna do any hard skills today. We're gonna do soft skills. Grab your notebook, and we went over to psychology. And a lot of people are like, that's fucking boring. You know what I mean? With the Lee Morrison stuff, plus his added psychology, what to look for, triggers. Adrenaline going from here to there. And it was fascinating shit. And I wrote a whole book because he's like, eventually I want you to become an instructor, he told me. So you got to write all this shit down because I'm going to test you. Plus, I'm actually going to touch hands with him in person, which I'm really excited about. Like, he's going to beat the shit out of me. I know he is, but it's okay. I'll gladly take the beating. I'll gladly take the beating for you guys. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be one of those guys like, fuck you. I'll take the beating. You beat the shit out of me on black and blue, I'll come back for more because I want to learn the right way it's going to save my life. But his shit with the Lee Morrison stuff that he has added in there, and Lee Morrison is the guy I would maybe train with sometime in the future if I ever could get opportunity. But like, he's pretty much the baby Lee Morrison, I call him. He has all this stuff. So, great stuff. I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, those are the guys. Like I kind of want to just end my thing with, like, where I'm kind of like my cup is full. Like, I'm just gonna work whatever they give me, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of a guy who's never going to go around the rest of my life doing this. I know people say I'm a piece of shit by saying that, but I just don't see myself being a lifelong martial artist. There's going to be a problem when I get old and I'm not going to be able to do shit. I'm already fucking, I'm old. I'm not old already, but I already got some health issues due to like military service. Which I'm not going to get into it here. But just whatever I have left of life. Okay, I'm going to say it this way. I don't want to sound like a Grim Reaper. And whatever I have left of my body is able to do stuff, I'm going to go forward and learn what I can. Mm-hmm. And then when I can't go anymore, I'm probably just going to be like, dude, like, I'm not going to, my body wearing down, I'm not going to go through much more. I mean, I don't have to tell you, you got your own issues you're dealing with too. And you got to take it easy and stuff like that. So,
I already have a cane belt for when I need it. I got hip issues. I've got back issues. And, I know my time is limited being able to do what I do. The closer I get to 50, the more I continue to train and the harder I continue to train. I gotta.
You always have this. And that's never going away. Even though you're in a wheelchair, you can still, that knowledge is never going to go away. It's always going to go forever. You'll live forever. I mean, I don't want to sound like a fucking weirdo, but you will live forever with, it's like you have your lineage, right? Like you have, say, your daughter, you only have a daughter and she never marries, right? Your bloodline dies out. I mean, like, you're never going to marry, but your bloodline will continue with all the students you've trained. Your legacies will live. All the people that are watching this right now, all the people they have trained, their legacy will live on forever.
100%.
Immortalized. I mean, even my fucking shitty thing I've taught a couple people will live on.
Yeah.
But, I'll be 61, a young pup. My dad always tells me all the time, I'm fucking 71 years old and I'll beat the fuck out of you. And you think, my dad's a brawler. My dad's a street brawler from the East LA back in the 70s, 80s. I mean, I know how many fights from he's gotten into. And it's funny because he's like, I didn't have any training. You know what I used to do to motherfuckers on the street? Bow, bow. on the fucking elbow. Because I elbowed him, dry gulch him. It's a dry gulch. What the fuck is a dry gulch? It's a fucking elbow.
Yeah. That's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, I grew up. My father was a street fighter from Brooklyn. You know, his father was an employee of Albert Anastasia and Murder Inc. You know, so yeah. So like my dad taught me some stuff growing up.
My training, he's like, I didn't fucking use any of that shit. I beat motherfuckers. I just grab them and fucking pow, pow. I was like, well, that's good for you, but I'm not street balling, man. Like, I'm not in LA in the fucking goddamn 1980s. Beating the fuck out of guys at a parties or anything and elbowing them. And fucking, you know, this is the real world now where there's consequences. But back then, you could probably do what the fuck you wanted to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But now I have consequences.
It's so different now. There's cameras everywhere. There's phones everywhere.
Yeah. You know? And I just told somebody the other day, they're like, well, if somebody comes up to me, I'm fucking blasting their ass. Bow, bow, bow. Like the fucking head. Center them out. Okay, dude. Okay, like put the gun down. Let's come back to reality. You know, all these fucking guys, I'm not saying guns are bad. I carry a gun too.
Right.
But all these fucking guys, like especially guys I work with and guys around here right now, I'm just pulling my gun out. That's shit you teach. Like, I'm just pulling my gun. I'm capping them. Yeah. I'm not fucking around fighting them. And I'm like, what happens if you can't draw your gun out? What happens if they ambush you? Well, then I'll figure something out. I'm like, what is so hard for you to put your ego down, put the gun down, and learn some fucking empty hand shit, learn some grappling? What is so hard about that? I don't need that shit to machismo. I don't need that shit. I got a fucking gun. I got a fucking 9 right here, 43X right here, 365. I got a 45 caliber. I'll blast them. Like,
I posted a video of I posted a small video on YouTube of Witch Doctor Zero's bolo sap, and one of the comments I got was, "Oh, that's got to be one of the stupidest weapons I've ever seen. You come at me with that, and I'll shoot you." The guy obviously has no idea what a sap is because you don't run at somebody with a sap.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna hit you in the back of the fucking head when you're not looking.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just, I don't know. It's the gun thing. Like I said, I have guns, but I'm walking around like, I'm gonna fucking blast you.
Right.
Like,
The same thing. I have guns. I'm a gun owner. I train on them. It's not my first answer. You know, I'm not. No. That's not.
Like, this one guy's like, you teach me empty hand, and I'll teach you CQB. I'm like, what CQB do you have? Well, this guy I know was a SWAT operator, and he showed me some stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the guy I'm gonna fucking take advice from. What the fuck? I'm not doing entries. What the fuck do I know when I do entries? I'm not breaking somebody's house. Anyway, I see we're running out of time. You got to jam out.
Time to give blood.
Yeah, it's been. We need to have you on. We need to have more. Why don't we have more conversations like this? I need to invite you on more.
Yeah, man. I'm ready for anything. Anytime.
We got to rant about stuff next time. I need to have you and Mike Blackgrave on sometime. We need to just sit here and just.
That'll be a good time.
That'll
be a good time. Yeah, Mike.
Let's plan that. Let's
all right.
Let's stir some shit. Let's fucking hurt some people's feelings. I mean, I'm not
qualified
to do that because I'm a nobody. But you guys are qualified now. But I just want to sit here and help stir the pot. So like, you know.
Yeah, you stir the pot, poke the bears, and we'll just set the world on fire.
Yeah. Mike Blackgrave, you're watching right now. Are you down for that? Are you down to do something like that? Or maybe it won't be. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if he responds. But anyway, thank you, sir, for coming on.
Hey, anytime.
I appreciate you. I am interested in the seminar that's coming up, and I think I'm gonna reach out to you because pretty soon I'm gonna do a lot more traveling after this thing passes, and I want to train with you in person for sure.
Yeah, we'll set it up.
Make that happen. He said, "Fuck yes, I'm flipping off the neighbor now." Let's make this happen. I'll get with you guys here soon. Like in a couple days, we'll line something up.
Sounds good.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Be safe, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Sorry, guys, it was short today. But like I said, Catch Haggard, we're gonna have to reschedule him. Like I said, he has some issues going on right now, and unfortunately wasn't able to make it. But we are gonna have him on again, and we're gonna talk. And we're going to. They were gut busting or nut. I think said nut busting. I'm like, I didn't bust anybody's balls here, did I? Not too much anyway. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed what you guys see. Raw and unfiltered. We don't give a fuck. We talk about whatever we got to do. And the next episode should be good. We're gonna have I'm gonna have Mr. Court Bolton on, and we're going to be going over analyzing a video that you may not have seen. It was involving a Las Cruces Police Department officer who got stabbed. We're going to analyze the video. He's going to give me some his thoughts and about police procedure and stuff like that. Analyzing the video, like what, this by no means, I mean, we're not going to dishonor the officer that's died, but we just kind of want to break down and show you in the video so you could see as well, like, just get the insight for somebody who's Leo, because I'm not a Leo guy. This guy's Leo, and he was former Ranger and stuff like this. Get his insights on what he saw, maybe could have done differently, break down the video. And that's going to be coming up in April. I got to get the time and date back for you. Coach Kurt has some episodes coming on with this show. The two FMA nerds talking FMA. And Fight House Talks podcast will roll on. I might be taking a short break due to some things going on here with me, health-wise. But I will be back here after the next couple episodes, probably like in the fall or something, maybe in the summer. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if there may even be a break. Well, I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not the doctor. I don't know what he has planned for me. But, we will continue to go on as much as we can. Coach Kurt will be rolling on as well with his guys in episodes. So let me know if there's anybody you want to see on the show. Any suggestions? If you want to come on the show, we're not about interviewing big names and a whole lot of people. We're here just to talk. So if you just want to come and rant and talk about some shit that you see and what's going on in the community, and you think it's bullshit and you're raw about it, and you just want to kind of shoot the shit and give me your opinion on things, I'm down for that. Come on and we'll talk. It doesn't have to be an interview about your system. It doesn't have to be an interview about your life. It could be just a talk. That's what the show's called, Fight House Talks podcast. We can do that. That's something you guys are interested in. So the Jason Schultz, Mike Blackgrave episode will happen. And I want to throw somebody in for good measure. Who in the fuck can I throw in there to really stir the pot? Who's really, guys, put down a name on there. If you see someone that's really opinionated, that really has a lot to say. Let's get 3 people on if we can. I don't know. Maybe I can only have 3 maximum. I gotta see how much the platform will hold at one time. I think 3 may be the max. But if there's another person you'd like to see later on that give their perspective on things, I'm giving you the platform to vent, to say whatever you want. As long as it's not hate speech and we're not threatening to hurt anybody by name physically, say what you want. But if you want to come on, let's make it happen. Hit me up on Messenger and let's get that going, guys. Let's talk about stuff. Let's get the conversation going for as long as I can do this. So let's do it. But anyway, all right, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Like I said, watch out for the new episodes coming up next. Port Bolton, I know, have come on in April. I believe it's April 4th. We got to make the flyer for it still. And Fight House Talks podcast rolls on. Julian, I'd like to get on, but due to the time difference in England, like if we did it now, it'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning for him right now, or 1 in the morning. But I'll ask him. I know I'm gonna talk to him probably tonight or tomorrow. We gotta talk about this trip coming over here. I'm really excited about this trip, guys. Like, it's gonna be real good. The training with him in person. The man has a lot of knowledge, and he is gonna beat the fuck out of me, like in the seminar, which is just cool. I'll take my lumps. It's for the good grade of the class, right? It's for me to learn, so I'll take my lumps. But Court Bolton's the gracious fuck. Yeah, he's a good guy. I've had limited interaction so far, but when I have talked with him, he seems like he's a pretty good guy, narrow guy, and he has some good topics. I really want to get his opinion on that video. I know a lot of you have seen the video. There's not really the whole analyze, he said, but I still want to get his opinion on the video, and I think it'd be good for everybody to see it and break it down and just talk about subjects and topics of knife wielding suspects and people with weapons and department procedure and stuff like that. It'll make a good show. I'm not here to try to change the world, but we're here just to have intelligent conversations and talk about shit and get things off our chest. Things are bothering us. This is a great way, a platform to come on the show. Like I said, I'm open-minded. I invite you all to message me and put you on the show. And if you guys have something that you want to vent about that you're kind of holding up and you're like, man, I want to fucking go in there and just I want to talk about this. I want to just get it all out. I invite you to come on and let's talk about it. Let's do it. Let's have good conversations. All right, guys. We need to sign off now. We got some things I got to do, and thank you all for watching. Thank you for all for taking your time out of the day and watching us. And we'll see you all next time. We'll play the outro music, and this is Brian, and yeah, we'll be talking to you all later on. And have a great one, guys. Signing off. Peace out, guys.